President Mahama is committed to the 60. So even if one ministry gets more than one deputy, it will still fit. But that appointment will be absolutely justified because, and I've broached the issue of the problems just to let you know. Indeed, in due course, all the ministers, and I will be actively involved in that, in all the sectors, will open up their books to the public. Yes, we do not intend to make one excuse. Indeed, we knew the magnitude of the problem, or at least we thought we knew based on information available. And yet we took on the task of running government. So we will do what is necessary. But it is the people of Ghana who have employed us, basically. They are our bosses, and we recognize that. We need to let them know the country that we are taking over. Yes. But I must stress that we did not start with telling them what the problem was. We started with fixing the problems, like the energy problem, the feeding shortages, the challenges in secondary schools, and what have you. We have done. We are actually doing that. We have, in fact, the feeding problem has been resolved at least for the next month or two.
On that particular point, you see, the charge was clear even before the end of the year that GES should consider postponing the reopening date. They insisted, and they had the schools reopened. The schools reopened, and the reality hit.
Just like they did with the fuel situation, the power situation, where they refused to purchase adequate supplies of fuel for us to mitigate the problems that were going to occur because of the West African gas pipeline closure. They did the same. You clearly did not have food. The logical thing to do is to give yourself time, buy some space. So a week or two, or even say a month's postponement would have boded well, giving you sufficient space to mobilize, to find some food for them. But again, on the very second day of this government, the chief of staff had to, summon a meeting of key stakeholders to find a solution, and a solution was found. And you see, again, it speaks about efficiency. On the first day, when we met the energy sector players, they were told, the meeting started at 10 a.m. They were told that by 4 p.m. that day, they must bring government a proposal to address the difficulty. And indeed, by 4 p.m., they had brought us the proposal. It means that there is quality human resource in the ministries, departments, and agencies. It's about giving them the right kind of motivation and unleashing their potential. I sat in that meeting.
I see.
And I have some energy background, so I understood the issues. But I was amazed about the quality of discussion and how quickly they were able to cobble up a plan together to ensure that, and indeed, it is that plan that we've been implementing. And that's why, as I speak to you...
By the technocrats.
Technocrats, with supervision from the energy minister designated, the finance minister designated, and myself, to oversee communication around the matter. And it is that plan that they brought us that is helping resolve the problem. As I speak to you, parcels of fuel have landed, they've been discharged, more is on its way. So the immediate threat that we face has been averted. Unless something catastrophic happens further down the line, we've averted that. But the point that I was making is that there's a need for the people of Ghana to be told this.
Yes, because
they will be told. In fact, President Mahama charged the first batch of ministers who were sworn in to make arrangements to ensure that the story is told. The point is not to demonize anybody, as the MPP did in 2001. You know, they used to see up paper just to show that things were so bad. They did the same to us when we came into
power. This is just beyond the politics of it. You want to tell us,
there must be transparency.
How the meat has been eaten to the
bone. You see, Alfred, I encourage you and other media organizations and analysts like Professor Jampo and Martin to carry out intense scrutiny of this government. Don't wait for us to leave power before you come and open up the books. Open it whilst we are there. We are a bit more tolerant, as you know. We are not going to fabricate falsehoods to smear you or unleash national security goons to silence you simply because you said something that is unpleasant. And in fact, free speech is guaranteed. It is not government that confers the right to free speech on anybody. It is an inalienable right.
Good.
What that means is that the moment you are born Ghanaian, by virtue of the fact that there's a document we call a constitution, you are free to criticize me, the Minister for Government Communication, dismiss my work, indicate that I'm a waste of time, I'm a drain on the public purse, and that my output is not satisfactory. You should be able to say that and go and sleep easy and wake up the following day and eat cocoa or drink tea and have peace of mind. You should be able to say that you don't like the color of President Mahama's dress, or that a minister's wig is not properly put on, and still sleep easy. Indeed, if the writers of the Constitution anticipated that speech would only be pleasant, there will be no need to guarantee the right. Because if I'm only going to praise Martin, why would you need to do a law, pass a law that stops him from seeking retribution against me because I have criticized it? The framers of the Constitution anticipated that speech will be unpleasant, and that often those who have power want to suppress speech so that their misdeeds are hidden from the public. Justice Louis Brandes, an eminent jurist of the past in the United States, said that sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Yes.
So the thing that keeps governments on its toes the most is constant public scrutiny. The fact that I know that Martin will be up in arms against this government if we do not do A, B, C, D is the very thing that will compel us to do the right things all the time, because we don't want him to be on our case. Yeah. So President Obama encourages, all of us encourage, indeed, no public official should ever have the right to put themselves above criticism. That's why I have gone public to express my opposition to even the contempt powers of court. I don't think that a Supreme Court judge, an MP, a minister, or even the president should be above criticism. There should be no punishment for saying things that the president doesn't like, or that the chief justice doesn't like, or the speaker of parliament doesn't like. We must give Ghanaians their due, and this is a government that will ensure that. Of course, we take on board commendation if and when we act in ways that please the public. They are free to praise us. But I don't think that we should thrive or live on praise. The people of Ghana did not vote for us only to come and have an exaggerated view of ourselves. We are ordinary citizens. I don't think that I'm more qualified than Professor Jampu to handle the portfolio I've been given. It is only that my views, outlook, and ideological inclination aligns with that of President Mahama. And I'm a member of the NDC, so the opportunity to serve fell on me. So I cannot come out and build airs around me and insist that nobody has a right to say what they want about me, that perhaps I look ugly, I shouldn't even be in any portfolio. It is their right to do so. As I said, Alfred, your boss has a right to yank you from this set to his office and give you a dressing down today. At the end of the day, it is the resources that he has put into this business that sustains you. Of course, the consideration you give in that regard is the output.
True.
He has a right to dress you down, to insist that your performance is not up to scratch.
Yes.
Same with the people who elected us. When I was campaigning in places like Abuenu, at Bosumayade, at Asumdre, at Abakrampa, at Mori, at Sebu, and I was telling them to repose confidence in me, I was literally pleading that they give me the right and authority to serve them. So I cannot immediately become the MP, become a minister, and determine that suddenly they stop being my bosses. So we bear, and that's why President Obama has made the point twice in successive swearing ceremonies that the ministers of state must bear in mind that we serve at the pleasure of Ghanaians. And my favorite proverb these days is the one that ABF Husseini rendered. It says that if you have found feathers to pluck on the back of a tortoise, what will you do to a fowl when you lay hands on it? In 2016, the people of Ghana gave a mandate to President Akufo-Addo. At the time, it was the biggest mandate in recent times. He got a vote difference of 1 million votes.
Almost.
We thought that...
Almost.
Okay, or let's sum it up to 1 million. We thought that, it was an aberration. It's most unlikely to happen again. Maybe something happened that day. Ghanaians were not in the best of, shapes that day. So it is an aberration, a one-off thing. In 2020, the same Ghanaians reduced the deficit to 500,000 and then gave us a hung parliament. You see, they were able to determine that some MPs were so bad that they cannot be tolerated, so they should go. But as for President Akufo-Addo, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Perhaps he has done 3 SHS. Perhaps he has good intentions, but the time is too short. So let's give him another 4 years and see if something good may come out of it. After the 8 years, Ghanaians took the view that they have wasted their time. So they bided their time, kept quiet, went to the polls, and inflicted the biggest humiliation ever under the Fourth Republic on the MPP in terms of electoral outcomes. Who is to say that if we don't govern well, and carry ourselves well, they will not humiliate us with a 3 million vote difference. So all of us, in the NDC, must appreciate what has happened. It is a humiliation of the MPP. But more importantly, the people of Ghana have put down a marker. What they have told us is that they no longer countenance poor government. Why? We are talking about energy sector. You have a situation where a minister of energy at a public function is cornered by a journalist and asked a quick question about when a timetable for load shedding is coming. He tells him that the people who pay his salary, who gave him prominence, and whose money he uses to do everything he does in that ministry, should go and prepare their own timetable. A whole president receives a delegation from a Kunfi who laments, as everybody else does, about the bad state of their roads and other critical needs that they have. You tell them that because you presented a candidate that they rejected, you also took the decision that you were not going to develop their country. You go to your stronghold, Ashanti region, Kwakye East, which is the place in the Ashanti region where they get the biggest votes. The youth there protest about poor roads. And you tell them that if they like, they should try the NDC. Now, when they try the NDC, can you complain? No. As they did in 2024. No. So we must see this. Exactly.
They don't vote for him.
They don't vote for him. So then he commands chiefs to get up from their seat. Look, if the national anthem is being played and the chief is seated, it is entirely possible that he has lost track of time. He just forgot, or it escaped him, or perhaps he doesn't even know that despite being a traditional leader, he still needs to recognize the national anthem. Okay. You can send an aide quietly to prod him. Oh, please, you need to stand as protocol demands. But you throw tantrums on the stage and humiliate a traditional ruler on whose land you are even holding the event. How do you expect the people of Ghana to treat you? So,
you see,
and yet, well, I am willing to overlook that. For me, we should not. It sounds a bit petty to say that. Forget it. But the way he treated that chief was disrespectful.
Right.
You see, you may be the most powerful person in the land, but you must accord everybody their due.
Did you see how Muhammad treated chief?
Absolutely, yes. I was with him in the water region. He said that it's not necessary. It is not necessary to get up for me. In fact, he is the guest. He is the one who customarily must go around to greet you. In any event, you've kept the chiefs there waiting for about an hour or two more than you scheduled to be there. So you should be apologizing. You should be groveling to seek their pardon for wasting their time, not go and command them around the place. So I've made this point to show.
So you're turning into that bit of the
yes. That President Mahama wants all appointees to have at the back of their minds, at the very outset, that there will be no tolerance for disrespect, for mistreatment of the Ghanaian people, simply because they gave us a mandate. Without this mandate, we are ordinary citizens. If today I get to a traffic light and a policeman will acknowledge me, it is only because I was given the opportunity and thrust into the limelight. That's all. That's the only difference between me and Professor Jampo. He can be minister any day, except that he chooses to remain in academia and contribute to the development of the next generation of professionals. That's all. His work is no less important than mine as a Minister of State. That is what the MPP lost sight of. That is what President Mahama does not want NDC appointees to lose sight of. That is why he has taken his time to tell them that he will not countenance it. People are suffering. Look, in July 2022, I used to do a transaction that requires me to pay the equivalent of $3,000 every month. In July 2022, this amount was, in cedi terms, 18,000 Ghana cedis. After, within 5 months, by November, that same payment had jumped to 54,000 cedis, which is an increase of 36,000 cedis. And yet, a whole vice president is able to stand on the platform and tell the businessmen who are suffering, hemorrhaging this way, that it is better to pay 17 cedis than to pay 6 cedis, and that they've managed the economy better. When you do that, you are in short. You see, it is bad enough that the economy is messed up and people are suffering. But to deny it and create the impression that the people you are addressing are Daleks only because you are vice president, and go ahead and say that an economy that cannot pay its debts, that has told 1.3 million people that they should go hang because 240 billion Ghana cedis meant for payment of their interest and principals cannot be found. Look, Alfred, you played the video of Mr. Ajekumado of blessed memory.
Yes.
Kama.
Yes.
Oh. When we were growing up, Kama was one of the foremost industrialists. This is a wealthy man. He is not just he is a wealthy man. Yet, because of bad government policy, it was possible for him to stand in public and declare that he was suffering. After, if Kama was suffering, what about the beggar on the street? Or the hawker selling gum? The people on our roads who are selling eggs to eke out a living. And yet, after all this, you are able to stand on political platforms, dance and sing, jump about, and declare that the economy is better. You have managed the economy better. And go and bring dubious statistics to throw that into the eyes of the public. President Mama says that will not be tolerated. If there are problems, acknowledge that there are problems. You see, the average voter is reasonable. And I have come to respect the Ghanaian electorate so much because they have changed governments 4 times. They are not static. They are not overtly partisan, as we believe. Yeah. Even if they support a party, they have capacity to change their minds if they think that the party has not performed. You see, the average voter is reasonable. You see, when there are difficulties, they are able to tell, oh, these are genuine difficulties. But the efforts that the government is putting in is satisfactory. So let us hope that they'll be able to. So they'll give you the mandate.
When you are honest.
When you are honest, you respect them, you acknowledge the problems, and you demonstrate measurable effort to address the problem. But not what we witnessed under.